Hello, people of YouTube. My name is Ari, and yeah, I'm here at Java. Yep, here's the code part of games and code. Games and code. Yeah, so I've been doing games. Now it's time for code. So yeah, today I'm doing a tutorial on card layout because I could never really find a good tutorial on it, and I thought that people should have a tutorial to use. So I'll try to explain like what I'm doing. I'm not going to be explaining how to do everything else that I'm doing. So like you should know Java already. You just don't need to know like the card layout. So know how to make a J-frame, know how to add a J button, and of course all the basic Java before that. So if you don't know that, then go watch a tutorial like the new Boston. He does good tutorials. I'll probably link that in the description for like basic Java, but he never did card layout, which is why I'm here. And as you can see, I made a new project. I called it card layout, and I have two classes. One's called main class and one's called GUI. So let's get started. In our main class, I'm gonna import javax.swing.everything because I'm lazy and I import everything when I don't feel like choosing something specific. Now here I'm going to do the same thing, and I can't type swing, and you should know what this is already if you and import java.awt.everything, import java. Okay, we're good. And we do not need anything in this class. Yes. Yep. We can make an object for the other class for later use. And yeah. So we're going to need to make a bunch of variables. We're going to make two J buttons. Oh yeah, you should also know how to. Actually, you don't really know. I'll explain what I'm talking about. J button, we're on button 1 and button 2, and let's make J panels. A J panel, if you do not know, it is like a panel, like that's pretty much all I know. I'm using the word, but a J panel is just like a panel of an area on the screen. That's my simplest way of explaining it. It's like a panel of the screen. I honestly don't know how to explain it other than that. It's like just an area on the screen, like something you can insert inside a window. Like if you have, okay, I got an example. If you have a program that is something like where you're drawing something, the square of like white in the middle where you actually do the drawing, like everything else on the side would be all the color controls. The square in the middle, that would be a panel for drawing everything. So yeah, that's what a panel is. So we're gonna make three, I think. Yeah, because panel 1, panel 2, and then content panel. So I'll explain what these are in a minute. The panel 1 and panel 2 are the cards in card layout. And if you don't know what card layout is, by the way, I'll explain that in a minute too. But yeah, these are the cards. This is the content panel, which is basically the panel where everything else goes inside. And then, yeah, pretty much. And I also need private card layout. This is just a layout for card layout equals. Yeah, so that's just going to be an object for whenever we need to use card layout. If you have made a window before, you may be familiar with something called flow layout, or maybe border layout, and I can't type. But today we're doing card layout. I cannot talk. I think I'm losing my voice. Oh well. And that should be it, if I remember correctly. I'm probably forgetting something. Oh well. So then we want oh yeah, I forgot. make this extend JFrame, because this is going to be making our window. See, it says GUI, so extends JFrame. I know I keep saying it, but I'm sorry if I'm not explaining every single thing. This is not beginners at all. So then let's make a constructor, and first let's make the title, and let's call it Card Layout Program, and let's declare each of these buttons equals new J button, and what it's going to say is go to the second card. Okay, so I'll just explain now. Card layout, what it is instead of having one thing, one interface for a window, like my best example is when I was making a quiz. Like I have a Minecraft quiz over here. When you're making a quiz, like a card is basically, I would have a card for each of the questions. So like once you got one right, it would have a separate page with a component for that specific question. That was sort of confusing. What I mean is, so let's say you have a quiz, like I said, and it has four buttons and a question. And then you click on one of them. It tells you if you got it right or wrong. And then when you click OK, it switches. The window's different. It has 4 different buttons. So what that is, each of those pages with buttons is a separate card. One card, so you can switch the interface and have it change through as you use the program instead of having to do something else. It just has, I hope you understand what it is, and if you don't, just like look something up, but it's sort of hard to explain. You have one page with the card, two, like this one, like I said before, this is one of the cards and this is the other card. So like what's going to happen is like when you click this J button 1, it's going to switch the page and show the page with this second button. Hopefully you understand. I don't know if I would. Yeah, I'll type in the description a better definition of card layout. But well, you also did click on this tutorial called card layout, so I'm assuming you know the basics, hopefully. So go back to first card. Yeah, like card is basically a separate page, and card layout is how you switch between each of the pages or cards in the program. I can't talk. So what now? Okay. So now we can set a separate background. So I'm going to set a background for each of the different cards. Like panel 1 is going to be card 1, page 1, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to set 2 different background colors that are easily distinguishable, so you can tell when it switches. So you can tell easily when it switches between cards. Set background, and let's make this one. Ooh, do that purple? Oh. Wait, pink? Yes. Manly. And then panel 2. I can type. Come on. Set background to. This is gonna look so horrible. These are like two of the weirdest colors to choose. Color to orange. So what this does is sets the background color for each of the pages, which is pretty self-explanatory. And then okay, that's good for now. And then caps lock. Okay, so then you want to say button 1 dot. Okay, first we need to make so we're going to make a class in a minute called action listener. AL for action listener equals new action listener. And we're going to make this class in a minute. It's, class inside of a class. Let's just make that now. So public class action this is going to be our action listener class for the 2J buttons. Yeah, come on. Good. And then hopefully you know how to do this already. Action perform. Come on. Performed. My God. I cannot type, seriously. Action event. So I'm gonna come back to this in a minute. I just want to make that because random errors annoy me. I'm like OCD about that. Okay. And then you want to set add action listener to each of these, and so add action listener. Oh, yeah. Okay, so what this does is action listener is basically a class where you can like listen for action. Basically, that's what it means. Like, it's self-explanatory. It listens for action in the window. Like, so if anything happens, so this knows if there's action within the window. And in this program, the only action there would be is if you click a button. So that we're gonna go back to that class in a minute. And what this does is, which class do you want to use for this button to listen for action? Which class do you want to listen on this button? And then we're going to do that the same thing here. And yeah. So now we're going to go back up to here and just declare these so we don't forget. Equals new jpanel, empty parameters for each of them. So, because I have forgotten before. Okay, now here we get into the stuff that actually has to do with card layout. So, what you're going to do first is content panel. I'm going to explain this in a minute, of course. Set layout. You may recognize this if you've ever done set layout, and then what is it? Flow layout. Yeah, and then card layout. And remember, card layout is just the name variable that we made, the object that we made for the card layout type up here. So, content panel, what it is what we're going to be doing down here is setting the content pane. What we're going to do is this dot set content pane. Content pane is the level of the window like that you see that has all the components of the window, like all the buttons. And so set content pane, content panel, what this is going to do is like, what do you want to be seen? Like, what panel do you want to be seen in the window? And we're saying that the content panel is going to be containing all the contents for the window. So what this does is set base. So to put it in regular words, set what is the main part of the window, or set what contains all the all the window components to this jpanel, which we're going to put everything in a minute. So yeah, and we're doing this because it's this class extending JFrame. Okay, hopefully you understood that too. Content panels, I think it's pretty easy to understand. So we're gonna go back up here, and we're going to, I'll get back to everything. What we're going to do is change each of these panel one dot, sorry, wrong thing. Content panel dot add. So you know how to add things to a window, but what we're doing here is we're adding things to the content panel, which basically is the container. Container is the word that I'm going to get back to. It's going to hold all the components. That's what content panel is. It's the container. It's holding all the components. So we're adding panel 1. So that means we're going to add that card or panel or page into content panel, which is holding or containing. It's a container. It's holding everything for the window, and then down here we set that as the content pane for the entire window. But what you need to do here is you need to add, and then it's panel 1, but then you need a string to refer to it. So this is just panel 1. What this is the name. You can't just type in the object or variable name. You have to also have a string name to actually refer to it as. I just put it the same thing to make it easier. Content panel dot add panel 2. So, okay, and then what we're going to do is say after we set content pane, we're going to say card layout, which this is like the biggest part of the actual tutorial, dot show. What this is going to do, oh yeah, so as you can see in the suggestion, show container parent, and then string name. So I'm going to explain this. So I'm going to go through this line. Card layout, which is the layout that you're learning about, which switches between pages, dot show. And what show means is it tells which of the 2 pages that we have, or however many you may have in the program. It says show which page do you want to be shown. And for this one, we're going to be doing the name is the string that we made, and we want the first one to show up when we start the program. We want that to be panel 1. But where it says parent, that is the container, like where is panel 1. So that's what I said before about content panel being a container. You just put that here. So it says CardLayout.show, and then show what you want to. Okay, so first we want you to look inside of this JPanel, look inside this container, and take out this panel, and this is the string name. So basically what this does, it says we want the first page to be page 1 or panel 1. So, and now we're going to get down into here, into the action listening. So what we need to do first is JButton source, or SRC, that's what I do, equals JButton, and then event, which is what we did for action event right here, dot get source. So what this is going to be used for is whenever the button is clicked, we're going to be using this. So let's get down to that right now. So now it's just a simple if statement. So if src, which is event.getSource, so basically whenever you click the button and it's listening for it, it is it knows there's an event, and this means get the source event, like where did the event come from. So if the source of the event, if whatever happened was dot equals. So I hopefully you know how to do basic action listening. If not, like I'll explain. So I'll explain to you. You can make a class inside of this class. Just make sure you make it outside of your constructor. Call it whatever you want, but just make sure it's the same thing up here. And then have it implement action listener. And action listener, like I said before, is the class that listens for action within the window. And then this is required. You have to have it have the method public void action performed. Action performed is the method that listens, like if they performed an action. It's pretty self-explanatory. An action event is just the parameter you need. And like I just said this, I should really get a drink of water. JButton source equals JButton. So that's just to say that it's going to be used for JButton. Event.getSource, which means get the source, get wherever the source of the event is, and then if source.equals button 1. So what this basically says is if button 1 is clicked. And now we can say what we want to happen is this says go to second card. So what we're going to do down here is what we did up there, except we're switching show content panel, and then we're going to switch this to panel 2. So, like it says here, go to second card, it's going to switch to panel 2. And then, what this is going to do right here is going to switch to the second page. Oh, I forgot something, of course. Yep. We need to add the buttons to the panels. Sorry, I forgot that. So, panel 1, the page 1 is going to have button 1 in it. And so on the first page you have a button where you can click, and then it's going to go to the second page. And then, same thing, panel 2 is going to add button 2, which is going to bring you back here. So that's what we're doing down here. So if they click button 1 on the first page, it's going to switch over to the second page. So you're not going to see this page anymore with button 1. You're going to see the new page with button 2, if that makes sense, which it should. So if source.equals button 2, so if they click button 2, we want to say CardLayout show content panel, the container where we stored each of our pages, and then back to panel 1. Okay, and we should be done with this class. Now we just need to go over back here to the main class. I don't even think we need this. I put it anyway, just in case. Let's just see after. So we just need to, if you know basic JFrame, you realize that I left out the 3 basic components to make a window. So I'm going to do that in main class. Sorry, doesn't seem to be working. Oh, I know what I did. Sorry. Remember to make your main method. Sorry. So public static void main. You should, if you do know any Java, you should know how to do this. And because I'm just bad. Okay. Anyway. G equals. Okay. Anyway. So what we're going to do is set default close operation. And what this does in I'm going to explain it even if you know it, just in case someone doesn't know it, even though I already told you that you should know this. But anyway, what this does is in the window, just like up here, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but I'm in the X button right here. So set default close operation. What this means is whenever they click X button, what happens? So we're going to say JFrame because this comes from all the code for making a window. JFrame dot, and what I usually do for CardLayout is dispose on close. So this means if you have multiple windows, only close the one you're on and not the entire program. So this should, and if you only have one window, then it's going to close the entire program. But for CardLayout, in case there's like an error for some reason, I'm just going to have it still have the another window open, so you can keep using the program. So yeah. And then g.setSize, this is pixels, width, and then height. I always do the same measurements. For me, what I do is 800 by 450. I don't know why, that's just my preferred size. You can set it whatever you want. Just make it, don't make it too small, or, yeah, you can really make it however big you want. And then g.setVisible, so can you see the window? And then you want it to be true. And you can do other things like set resizable, which means then you put true or false if you want them to be able to do this, like make the window bigger or smaller, as you can see I did there. And my mouse is moving randomly because my wire's like all messed up, but anyway. So this should be good. So let's run it and see if I mess anything up. Okay, here we go. So, CardLayout program. Let's have this be on one side and Java code be on the other side. So I'll explain to you what we're doing. What just happened. So what we're seeing now is the content panel, the content pane, and the variable we made for that is content panel. So as you can see, card layout program. So this is content pane, which is the layer. There are 3 layers. Like there's a title pane, content pane, and I don't even remember the names of all the panes because content pane is the one I use the most. But content pane is the one with all the content, obviously. It's the one with all the components, and it's a panel, or a container, as it's referred to in card layout. It's a container where you can store all of your pages. So this is page, or panel 1. And remember, on panel 1, over here, we said panel 1 to add button 1, and button 1 is go to second card. And here's button 1. So we're seeing page 1. Now if we click on this, oh god, this is a horrible color, I knew it. Anyway, so now when we clicked on button 1, that goes down into our action listener class. So if you click button 1, we want card layout to show within this container. We want it to show the other page. We want it to show this page called panel 2. So this is a completely separate page or card. And remember, in panel or page 2, we have panel 2.add button 2, and this is button 2. So, and then you can click this and switch between them. And yeah, that is pretty much it with card layout. That's very basics, just switching back and forth. But you can add anything you want to either of these, and you can add as many cards as you want, as long as you. But if you do it all in one class, it might make it a little long. So you might want to make multiple classes for each card, or whatever you want to do. But yeah, that's basics of card layout. So thank you guys for watching. My name has been Ari, and I will see you guys later.